Hello, and welcome back to Let's Play Planescape Torment with me, BringItDon. So as a disclaimer, I have already recorded this episode in its entirety.
I'm gone.
And uploaded it to YouTube, but for some reason OBS decided it didn't want to record my desktop audio, in other words, my game audio. And while it doesn't make a huge difference in this game, because it's, I'm just reading everything, it's a quality thing. Anyway, we're going to talk to ei-vene here, and then we're going to continue. It might not take as long as it did in the last time I recorded it, because I already know what I'm doing. Anyway, yeah, let's talk to ei-vene. You see a slight young woman with pale features. The sunken flesh around her cheeks and neck makes her appear as if she is starving. She seems intent on dissecting the corpse in front of her, prodding the chest with a finger. Greetings. The woman does not respond. She seems too intent on the body in front of her. As you watch her work, you suddenly notice her hands. Her fingers are talons. They are darting in and out of the corpse's chest cavity like knives, removing organs. I said, greetings. The woman makes no response. I think the dusty chit might be a bit short of hearing, Chief. Let's lay off, shall we? Oh, what's wrong with her hands?
Updated my journal.
She's a tiefling, Chief. They got fiend blood in their veins, usually because some ancestor of theirs shared knickers with one demon or another. Makes some of them addled in the head, and addled looking too. Tap the woman, get her attention. The woman jumps and whips around to face you. Her eyes are rotting yellow, with small orange dots for pupils. As she sees you, her expression changes from surprise to irritation, and she frowns at you. Greetings. She doesn't seem to have heard you. She leans forward, squinting as if she can't quite make you out. Whatever is wrong with her eyes must make her terribly nearsighted. She clacks her taloned fingers together, and then makes a strange motion with her hands. Find thread and embalming juice. Bring here to ei-vene. Go, go, go. I had some questions first.
Updated my journal.
As she turns away, she makes no sign that she heard you. Okay. And that just repeats the dialogue. So we already have the embalming juice. I think that, or fluid, sorry. One of these guys has it. Yeah, this one. This heavily stitched corpse is shuffling lazily back and forth between two slabs. The number 506 has been stitched on its forehead, and the back of its neck, and its right arm. In fact, the skin of this peeling corpse has been sewn up with so many stitches, its skin looks like a bizarre street map. Examine the stitches. The stitches encircle the corpse, running from its arms, across its chest, up its neck, and into the damp mass of white hair. As you follow the crossroads of stitches, you notice someone has jammed a needle into the corpse's forehead. The needle is attached to a thread stitching up the side of the skull. You could probably unravel it if you had something to cut the thread. Cut the stitches with your scalpel, then pull out the needle and thread. You slice the thread neatly with the scalpel, then pluck out the needle and pull the stitches out. As you do, the skin covering the forehead peels back to reveal the corpse's chalk-white skull, where to your surprise, the number 78 has been chiseled. Seems you got two different designations there, corpse. The corpse stares straight ahead, oblivious. And now we can return this stuff to her. You see ei-vene. She's still dissecting the corpse's chest with her talons. The rhythm of the talons reminds you of something, but you can't quite recall what. Watch her, study the motions of her hands.
Updated my journal.
As you study the motion of ei-vene's hands, you feel a prickling along your scalp, and then suddenly you find your vision swimming, blurring, until... You are standing in front of a freshly slain corpse, rigor mortis making a mockery of its smile. The number 42 has been stitched onto its scalp. The zombie is lying on a slab, and you have just finished stitching up its chest. You place something inside, something that may prove useful if you come this way again. Echo. Keep these things safe and wait for my return. The memory of your voice is an echo, strange and hollow to your ears. You cross your arms in front of your chest, and to your surprise, the corpse does too. After a moment, its hands fall back to its sides, and as it does, the vision fades, until you're watching ei-vene's hands make her stitching motions once more. So I've regained a memory, and memories can give you additional experience points, skills, and may even lead you to gaining something else of value later on. And we'll see that in just in a little bit. Alright, tap her, get her attention. She turns, sees you, then frowns. Dumb zombies. She clacks her taloned fingers together impatiently, then makes a stitching motion with her fingers. Find thread and embalming fluid, bring here to ei-vene. Go, go, go. Give her the thread and embalming fluid.
Updated my journal.
Without missing a beat, ei-vene snaps the thread from your hands and hooks it around one of her talons, then begins sewing up the corpse's chest. She then takes the embalming fluid and begins to apply a layer to the corpse. And wait around. Within a minute she is finished. She clicks her talons and turns to face you. To your surprise, she extends her hand and drags her talons along your arms and chest. Keep playing zombie. Looks like you have a new friend, Chief. You two need some time together, or keep playing zombie. As she traces your arms and chest, you suddenly notice she seems to be examining your scars. She withdraws her talons, clicks them twice, then bends forward and examines some of the tattoos on your chest. Who write on you? Hivers do that? They respect for zombies. Zombies, not paintings. She sniffs, then pokes one of your scars. This one bad shape. Many scars. No preserves. Wait. Her talons suddenly hook into the thread you brought her, and lightning-like, she jabs another talon into the skin near one of your scars. It feels barely more than a pinprick, but it looks like she's about to start stitching you up. Alright, let her work.
Updated my journal.
The sensation is curiously painless, as ei-vene begins to stitch up your scars. When she is done, she sniffs you, frowns, then stabs her finger into the embalming fluid. Within minutes, she has dabbed your body with the fluid, and strangely enough, it makes you feel better. Let her work. This will be the second time in my life I'm thankful I don't have a nose. ei-vene puts the last touches on your body, gives you another sniff, nods, and makes a shooing motion with her talons. Done. Go, go. And we have +1 to our HP. Also, I haven't shown this off yet. You can change your health bar display.
I'm gone.
I prefer the numbers. I forgot to change it last episode. Alright, so you can also bash these open. I haven't been doing it.
Forced it.
Open.
Earring has advantages. Alright, anyway, let's head upstairs.
I'm gone.
Start looting stuff. So our charcoal charm, it gives you it's a one-time use item. It gives you 50% resistance to fire and 25% resistance to magical fire. Now, this piece of charcoal is a charred bone fragment of some creature, perhaps a finger bone or a talon. Various symbols have been scratched onto its surface. The scratchings are so faint you almost miss them. This charcoal charm temporarily protects the user against flames and extreme heat. To use the charred bone is snapped and both halves are ground to powder. Then the charcoal dust is rubbed over the heart of the user. So, pretty good resistances. Most items you find like that give you pretty significant resistances. Some junk. We can also talk to the Dustman. He'll be like, hold there, and all that jazz. Actually, let's go and talk to him. The Dustman regards you with a stony gaze. Are you lost? No, I'm not lost. I had some questions. If you're not lost, what is your business here? I'm here to see someone. Who are you here to see? I'm here to see Dahl. Dahl is most likely in the receiving room on the second floor. He's quite busy and not in the best of health. Unless you have some pressing business, I would not disturb him. Very well, thanks for the information. Dustman nods and returns to his duties. Now, I think if you kill them, you can take their robes from them, and then you won't be questioned by the Dustman any longer while you're here. Alright, so an iron pry bar that can be used as well to bash things open, or pry things open. Dustman request. A note written on a scrap of dry parchment. Contact the necromancer responsible for raising contractual worker 42. I know he's examined the skeleton before, but I am certain the initial raising of the body was warped. The worker still responds to commands, but when it has completed a task, it resumes pacing in the same circular pattern as it did before. Dahl recently informed me that worker 42 exhibited that same walking pattern when it was a zombie decades ago. There may be a soul echo in the marrow, or the skeleton's age may have caused the magic animating him to decay. One of the initiates suggested it may be following an order issued by a higher-ranking Dustman in the past, but I found no records of such an order. Whatever the reason for its behavior, the matter is to be resolved or the worker replaced. Remember, 42 was the number from our vision, and we supposedly stored something inside of him.
Forced it.
Alright, so money and clot charms, they, what do they do? It heals you for a bit, or it gives you temporary hit points, I believe. No, that's a different item we found later. So yeah, heals for 9, and it gives you 5 resistance to slashing attacks and 10 resistance to piercing attacks. The skill-setting blood drop is as hard and smooth as a pearl. When placed on the tongue, it dissolves instantly and spreads throughout the user's bloodstream. The charm stimulates the user's blood into clotting and scabbing over existing wounds, healing any minor damage the user may have suffered before consuming the charm. Furthermore, as long as the charm is in effect, the player's blood becomes more aware of new wounds that occur, especially any attacks that draw blood. The charmed individual becomes more resistant to slashing and piercing attacks, as their blood clots and scabs over the wound as soon as the flesh is torn. So pretty neat. So the first time through, I clicked on a lot of these zombies, looking for the 42 guy. Alright, Mortuary Sanctum Key, that is important. This guy wants to talk to us. Are you lost? Same stuff. No, I'm not lost. What is our business here? I was here for an internment, but there seems to have been a mistake. Who is being interred? Perhaps the services are taking place elsewhere in the mortuary. That could be. Where are these other services taking place? Several interment chambers line the perimeter of the mortuary. They follow the curve of the wall on the first and second floors. Do you know the name of the deceased? No. You should check with one of the guides at the front gate. They can assist you. Very well, thank you. Alright, so the key that we got will open up some of these doors for us. That just takes us back down to the previous floor. The hammer. Which I think is the strongest weapon that we currently have in our inventory. 1 to 6 crushing. That's the same as the pry bar. Found a much better weapon here in a minute. So something about this game, you can multi-class, but it's not actually multi-classing. You can change classes. Unlike other Dungeons & Dragons games, when you multi-class and you change your class in this game, you don't get to use your previous class's abilities. So say, I think right now I'm like a level 3 fighter. Actually, I don't know where to see your level at, but I know I am a fighter. So say I was a level 3 wizard and I had those spells available, and then I changed to being a fighter. I wouldn't be able to cast any wizard spells or any mage spells. So it's a little different than other D&D-like games. Okay. The skeleton... I didn't run into this last time. The skeleton has either seen a great deal of combat or has fallen down one too many staircases. Both its arms and legs have been broken and rebuilt with the aid of leather straps and thin iron rods. The front of its skull bears the number 863, but the back of its skull has caved in, forming an empty cavity. Notice that someone has taken advantage of this and tucked a rolled up piece of parchment inside the skull. Now take the parchment out of the skeleton's skull. You slip the parchment out of the worker's skull. Oddly enough, it looks as if the skull cavity is intended to store messages. A tiny string is attached to the parchment from a hook bolted inside the skull, as if to keep the parchment from accidentally falling out. Unhook the string and take the parchment. You unhook the string and glance over the parchment. It looks like a reminder from one of the mortuary custodians. Judging from the note, the skeleton seems to be a walking messenger of sorts. As you take a second glance at the skeleton, you realize it has stopped in front of the slab because it can't figure out how to move past it. Examine the skeleton again. The skeleton looks like it's seen a great deal of action, either because of combat... Okay. I have to ask, are those broken bones from combat or from falling down? The skeleton makes no reply. I wonder if this Greybeard would mind if I borrowed his body. Greybeard? Greybeard. You know, geezer, old feller, yellow dog, old. I don't think he's in any position to object. Why not take his body? Mort studies the skeleton for a moment and then shakes his head. Nah, I need a fresher one than this. It's something with a little more dignity. This one's all creaky and fractured. And you're not? Oh, you're a sack full of laughs. Mort glares at you. Besides, you're one to talk, Burke. Mirrors beg for mercy when you're around. Oh yeah? At least I have all my parts. Mort snorts. You're not quite sure how he managed it without lungs. Let me tell you, Mort. There's nothing more satisfying than walking around, swinging your arms, breathing the crisp air through the lungs. It's great to have a body. I have you know that helping you escape the preparation room has now been added to my growing list of regrets. Mort snorts again. I should have let you rot. Some more, that is. Glad you feel that way. Let's go. Yes, I didn't find that parchment last time. That's interesting. Mortuary reminder message. This rolled up piece of parchment appears to be some sort of message the skeleton in the mortuary was supposed to deliver. This is the third and last request for the pry bar. If it has been misplaced, tell me, and I shall go to the hive market and purchase another. I have no objection to maintaining the contracted workers, but I've been trying to repair the skeletons, and the bolts are wedged in so tight I can't get them out. Also, some of the locks in the storage cabinet on the third floor have become stuck due to the heat, and I need the pry bar to snap them open as well. If the pry bar is indeed lost, I will see about procuring the services of a locksmith and having the cabinet locks replaced. Your aid in this matter would be appreciated. An unreadable signature has been scrawled beneath the message. So we have a pry bar. I don't think I can give that to the custodian. I know where the custodian's at. I'll come back and look at that in a second. Another clot charm. Some more bandages. Don't know why I did that because I had the crowbar equipped.
Forced it.
More money, a bone charm, and a corpse fly charm. So the bone charm, +2 to armor class, +2 to armor class versus crushing, and +15% resistance to crushing attacks. The soul finger bone charm has been hollowed out and tiny symbols have been scratched on its surface. A user must snap it in 2 to activate it. When snapped, the bone charm temporarily strengthens the user's skeleton and acts as a ward against breaks and fractures. The charm gives the user an overall bonus to their armor class and additional resistance against crushing attacks. Corpse fly charm. This corpse fly looks like it was frozen. It appears to be dead, but you can't be sure. The magic contained within the charm is activated when the insect is consumed. When swallowed, the recipient suddenly becomes extremely nauseous. A few seconds later, the charmed individual expels a stream of insects from their nose and mouth. Provided the charmed individual can keep their wits about them after the casting, the caster can send this cloud to attack a target. So that's pretty neat. Anyway, so a Dustman embalming charm, lesser. The strange metal bracelet has directions described on the side of it. Judging by the crude text, it appears that the bracelet works by being held by a living creature. Then, while pronouncing a mantra to the true death, it is touched to the forehead of a zombie or skeleton. When this is done, the minor enchantment held within the item spreads throughout the corpse, strengthening their bones, killing traces of corpse rot and or grave mold, and helping to seal minor tears in the skin. So this only works on myself, the player character, or Mort, because I'm a zombie and he's a skeleton. And when cast, the target gains +2 to 8 temporary hit points and a temporary bonus of +1 armor class for half hour. And if you're not at full health, then it will heal you instead of giving you the temporary hit points. Anyway, mortuary task list. Someone has penned a series of tasks in red ink on this scrap of parchment. I would like the contracted workers to be inspected thrice daily at the end of each work shift when the new initiates come on duty. I've experienced too many contracted collapses while engaged in heavy labor as of late, and I fear the embalming enchantments initially used on the corpses may be decaying or may have been warped somehow. The contracted workers could be inspected every 8 hours and raised if they have collapsed. This would prevent the backlog of shells in the preparation rooms and free up more contracted workers for other duties. I do not wish collapsed bodies to be disposed of. When possible, the original contracted shells are to be raised and be made to resume their duties. I've included spare embalming charms within the shells for the initiates on duty. They are to be used only when the shells cannot be repaired with stitching, bandaging, or applications of embalming fluid. Neato. I'm not lost. Same stuff as before. Here to see someone, I'll just say doll. Thank you. Walk away. So I think they only approach you once, and after they confront you the one time, they'll leave you be. They'll just keep asking you, why haven't I left yet? Okay. This skeleton seems particularly old. The leather straps binding it together The leather straps binding it together cracked and worn. The word repent has been carefully engraved on its forehead with some amount of skill. The rougher hand later chiseled 996 onto both its temples. Examine the skeleton carefully. Someone has taken care to bind the bones of the skeleton with leather straps, woven around the body in such a pattern that they resemble muscles and tendons. The straps are secured to metal bolts punched through the skeleton's joints. The skeleton looks like it has seen a great deal of service. Many of its bones are chipped and numerous fractures abound within sealant and foul-smelling glues. Try and pry out the skeleton's joint bolts. Whoa, Chief, that's vandalism. Those bolts are probably the only thing holding that bag of bones together. Necromancy only goes so far with these old fellas, you know? So? Oh, it's not a problem. Mort does a strange bobbing motion that you'd think might be a shrug. Just wasn't sure if you knew that or not. By all means, go ahead. Try and pry out the skeleton's joint bolts. I didn't do this last time either. Using your pry bar, you get the bolts from the skeleton's joints. The skeleton collapses, some of its bones still twitching. Sorry about that, Bones. It's a leather strap and an iron spike. Interesting. Alright, so there should be another skeleton around here somewhere that I can interact with. Or is it a zombie? Uh-oh. I don't actually remember. Alright, I know 42 is somewhere on this floor. I thought he was a skeleton. Because he used to be a, maybe it's this one. No, I think I just saw Markin over there. The skeleton number 748, according to the number chiseled above its brow, is odd only in that some of its teeth appear to be false ones made of reddish-brown stone. They're clearly not valuable, however, as its caretakers would have otherwise removed them. Examine the skeleton carefully. Someone's taking care of... Okay, it's the same stuff as the last one. Should I take more? Yeah, sure. I'll keep taking stuff I can sell. Alright, I think it's this one. Here it is. The skeleton turns to face you. 42 has been chiseled into its forehead, and a number of its bones. Mostly the jaws and joints have been bound with leather straps. A black smock draped over its body. I think this is the corpse I had that memory about. At the sound of your voice, the skeleton suddenly straightens up. It crosses its arms over its chest, and its fingers hook into its ribcage. Cross your arms over your chest. In response, the skeleton drops its arms to its sides. The leather cords securing the skeleton's torso snap. The ribcage folds outward like a pair of double doors. I reach into the ribcage and feel around. To your surprise, your hand vanishes as you reach inside the ribcage. You have a strange feeling it's somewhere else. As you reach inside the ribcage, your hand bumps against an invisible object. It's about the size of a fist and seems to be attached to the skeleton's spine. Take the item out. As you pull the item out, the skeleton suddenly disintegrates, and the iron bolts securing its joints clatter to the floor. Whatever this item was, it seems to have been the only thing holding it together. Examine the item. It looks like an unremarkable lump of iron. You can't imagine why someone would hide it inside the ribcage of a skeleton. Examine it. As you place both your hands on the lump of iron to examine it, there's a hiss, and the metal evaporates, leaving behind a strange dagger, a handful of coins wrapped in a dirty cloth, and 2 bloody teardrops. These look like they were inside the lump of iron. Take the items and leave.
I couldn't carry any more, so I had to drop it.
That's fine. I'm gonna drop this stuff. Green steel knife. So that's one of the items that was in the that lump of iron. I don't need the logbooks, I don't think. Actually, any of these notes for that matter. Alright, so green steel knife, 1 to 4 piercing. This razor sharp knife has been forged out of the famed Batorian green steel. Found only in the wastelands of Avernus, this peculiar green ore can be tempered into metal, such as lighter than normal steel. In addition, much lighter than normal steel. Sorry, I said such. Anyway, in addition, green steel weapons tend to retain their remarkably fine edges and are capable of dealing out more damage than their standard counterparts. So that's 1 to 3, so that's a little bit more. I'll put this probably like right here. Also, another thing with the classes in this game, the main character, our nameless one, cannot become a priest, right? Cleric, I guess is a the equivalent class.
I'm gone.
Alright, so now we should be able to open up all these other doors because we have the Mortuary Sanctum Key. So all of our paths are now open to us. Some more bandages and cleaning rags. I think we can actually wear the rags, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's a quest item, or a quick item. But I need the rags. Interesting. Anyway. Actually, you know what? I might put these up here. As the quick item stuff. Bone charm. There we go. Alright, so now these other doors are open to us, so we can go back upstairs, or we can go downstairs, since that's where we're supposed to go.
I'm gone.
Dustman guard's gonna talk to us. You see a stern-looking man in black robes. He's glaring at you suspiciously. State your business. I see. Lean in as if to whisper something to him and snap his neck. My only business is that I am bound for the exit. I mean to cause no trouble. The Dustman frowns. He seems skeptical. There are guides that can direct you in the antechamber. Do not wander the mortuary unescorted. Thank you for your assistance. I'll go speak to the guide. And that's that. So we'll run around the edges here. I don't remember there being any loot. but I do want the map cleared out. Also, the map has a lot of really neat things on it. So, show walkable. It highlights everywhere that we can actually walk, because obviously the map isn't, super clear. We can also add notes. Look at the world map here. It's got some neat tools. Something that I wish a lot of games had nowadays was or is the ability to put notes on the map. Divinity Original Sin had it. I haven't seen a lot of other games with it in its as a thing. I did talk to all these zombie workers last time. Now if you go up here, this little thing that pops up right there. We'll go in there in a minute. That's actually our way out, or one of the ways out. I think you'd also just walk out the front gate. So here is the Great Hall, and I think you just walk out this door here. Anyway, we're gonna go in here into the center first. There's some giant skeletons. 4 of them precisely. Also playing with a weapon on it. It's got a crescent hatchet, which I think is the strongest weapon we've found so far. Yeah, 2 to 7 slashing, so it's stronger than everything else. Anyway, we'll look at the giant skeleton. Before you is a giant skeleton in ornate bronze armor. The armor has been bolted onto the skeleton's frame, and a series of elaborate symbols have been carved across the breastplate. You wonder where the skeleton came from. You weren't aware they made humans in this size. The huge blade in its hands looks like it weighs as much as a wagon cart. Examine the giant skeleton carefully. The skeleton's intricate bronze armor is riveted onto its ribcage and shoulder blades with a series of iron bolts. As you study the frame behind the armor, you notice the same iron bolts are set into the skeleton's shoulder, elbow, pelvic, and knee joints. A mass of thick leather cords and heavy knotted ropes run along the length of the skeleton's arms and legs, woven in such a pattern that they resemble muscles and tendons. Examine the armor. Despite the armor's obvious age, it looks well cared for. It shines brightly, and the symbols engraved on the breastplate seem to flow in the firelight, shifting slightly whenever you try to focus on them. Study the symbols. Almost unconsciously, you let your gaze relax as you look at the symbols. After a moment, the symbols cease shifting and resolve into a trail of runes that run up and down the breastplate. Strangely enough, the interlocking patterns of runes reminds you of chains. And with that thought, you suddenly recall that these runes are some sort of warding enchantment. Study the runes, try and recall the enchantment. You study the pattern of runes as they weave their way across the breastplate. On its most basic level, the runes are a lesser armoring enchantment, but several skull-shaped runes and spherical tracings along the edges of the armor make you suspect several greater necromantic and warding enchantments are woven in as well. Touching the skeleton will most likely cause it to awaken and defend itself. See if you can dispel the enchantment somehow. You suspect that marring the rune pattern along the breastplate could unravel the enchantments, but it looks difficult. The pattern is complicated, and scratching out the wrong portion could cause the skeleton to animate. So I picked the second one last time. Mar the runes maintaining the warding enchantment first, then work backward through the rune pattern, canceling the necromantic, then the armoring enchantment. Yeah. So the work is difficult and nerve-wracking at first, but slowly your mind begins to focus, and the runes begin to unravel beneath your attack. Within minutes, the giant skeleton has been stripped of the enchantments binding it. It collapses, falling to the floor with a crash of bones and a heavy clanging noise. Darn pile of bones. You wait for a moment, but no one responds to the sound. Moving quickly, you sift through the skeleton's parts on the floor. Most of it is too heavy or too old to be useful, but you discover a piece of the skeleton's breastplate with the majority of one of the broken enchantments engraved on it. You have a feeling it could prove useful. I'll just take it then. So that gives us Rune of Lesser Warding. So it teaches us armor if we get the wizard. I am going to end up being a wizard, I think, because I can't become a priest, and I don't have the stats for a fighter or a thief. Those are the 4 classes: priest, thief, fighter, and wizard, or I think it's actually called a mage in this one. Anyway, upon closer examination of the runes covering the surface of this breastplate, you think you might be able to unlock the rune's power and use it to invoke a primitive warding enchantment, similar to the one that protected the giant skeleton. Activating the rune will destroy the breastplate, however. But it does teach you a new spell. So, I don't know if you can do it with every skeleton or not. So it's the same thing. I'm gonna try this one instead. Mar the Runes maintaining the armor enchantment first. Actually, hold on, let me quick save first. I don't know if it's gonna change.
I'm hurt.
Yeah, nope, we're about to die. That's not gonna work. That's what I thought. Uh-oh. I don't know which one is my most recent quick save. I don't know what quick load is. Uh-oh. There we go.
Done.
That works. Alright, so I think if I do the same thing to him, I can just get a few of these enchantments. I could probably sell some of them. So let's do that real quick. Oh, Rune of Armor. Hello. No, this teaches armor. This also teaches armor. It's the same thing. Upon closer examination of the breastplate... Oh, you realize you didn't mar the warding rune beyond recognition. In fact, unlike the other breastplates, the spell that maintained the integrity of the giant skeleton is mostly intact. So much that you could either cast the runes as a spell or copy them into a spellbook and keep it as part of your arsenal. Either casting or copying the spell will destroy the breastplate, however. Well, neat. Well, I'm glad I tried that this time. I didn't do that last time.
I'm gone.
Alright, so we'll do the same thing with him.
I feel stronger.
Finally leveled up as well. Cool. Greater warding. Yeah, same description as the lesser warding. Well, neat. Okay, well, I'm glad I came back to do this. Alright, I'm glad I had to replay all this so I could do it anyway.
Looks like my skills have increased.
And he also leveled up. Rune of Shielding. Taught me shield. Upon closer examination of this breastplate, you realize you didn't mar the warding rune. Let's see. Okay, same thing, just shield. So we can learn 2 spells now.
Can't run while I'm carrying all this.
Of course not. Here, you can carry all this stuff. How about that? There we go. Let's level up. Maybe this one, level up. Saving throws have improved, fighting skills improved, 1 characteristic points gained, 9 hit points gained. Okay. I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. Just accept. Oh, here we go. Alright, so I get 1 character point. I'm gonna put it into intelligence here, and then accept. Alright. Is that it? Am I done leveling up? Okay, yeah, that's it. Just brings you back to the character page. Cool. Both of us are at 30 health. Hot dog. Alright, so the way out that I'm going to take is up here. And then it shows this is the table that we were laying on in the beginning. Some spooky ghosties. They're like the twins from crap, The Matrix Reloaded.
I'm gone.
Alright, so pen's note and 80 copper commons. This note has been written with remarkable penmanship upon the finest parchment. There we go. Had trouble reading that. Vaxis, if you're reading this, then you have undoubtedly failed in your task and have been forced to use the escape route I arranged. I told you that your little disguise idea was ridiculous. In any case, you'll need to lay low for a while. The Dustmen may be deluded, but they are not fools, and they will certainly seek retribution for our intrusion. I've left you some coins. Use them to secure a hiding place in the hive, preferably in Ragpicker's Square. The Dustmen will be unwilling to look for you there. And once you've secured a new hiding place, I have a new mission for you. Find out where Farod is getting those bodies he's delivering to the mortuary. It's apparently causing the Dustman a great deal of upset, and I wouldn't mind knowing myself. Reports are that stone-faced Dustman at the Gathering Dust Bar, Initiate Emmerich, I think the fool's name is, has been sending out finders to try and mark Farad's movements. See if you can find out how far along he is and hinder his efforts until we know more about Farad's activities. I don't want Emmerich finding out something before we do. Pen. So that kind of leads into our main quest as well, because we're looking for Farad. So now we know we can go locate Emmerich, and he should lead us to Farad, or at least give us an idea of where to look for Farad. Alright, and we've escaped the mortuary, and once we spawn in, I'm going to call it an episode. Yep. Thanks for watching, and hope to see y'all in the next episode. We'll start exploring the Hive. Anyway, hope to see you there.